India is pouring billions into an aggressive infrastructure push, racing to become a global manufacturing powerhouse. But this ambition faces a quiet, entirely invisible threat. Garbage is a structural economic failure. Categorizing it merely as a municipal cleanliness issue ignores the massive drag it places on a city's productivity. Unmanaged waste functions as a severe economic saboteur, quietly multiplying every crisis a growing city faces, from transport to public finance. Take infrastructure. A city can spend hundreds of millions of dollars engineering massive networks of roads and underground drainage systems, only for a single stray plastic bag to clog a critical choke point and cause the entire grid to fail. A city doesn't flood simply because it rains. It floods because discarded bottles and wrappers are choking the exact routes the water needs to escape. That physical damage quickly bleeds into public health. Piles of stagnant, unmanaged garbage create perfect breeding grounds for mosquitoes and rats, driving up rates of dengue and malaria. This forces the government into a vicious cycle. Instead of deploying capital to build new infrastructure, they have to burn those funds treating preventable illnesses caused by a toxic environment. And while wealthy residents can buy their way out by moving to cleaner neighborhoods or purchasing purified water, the poorest citizens are left behind to absorb the direct, daily impacts of wading through this contamination. The current system is structurally broken. We are relying on severely underfunded municipal governments to clean up the endless daily output of multi-billion-dollar corporations. Appealing to our collective civic morality to fix this hasn't worked. Fixing a crisis of this scale requires a ruthless, systemic economic correction. That correction starts by changing how we look at the material itself. We must stop seeing discarded plastic, electronics, and batteries as trash. These materials are industrial raw materials, currently stranded outside the manufacturing cycle. They are assets misplaced in the economy. To force the market to recognize this value, the Indian government introduced a strict policy framework called Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. EPR legally forces the original manufacturers and brand owners to take on the financial and logistical burden of their product's entire life cycle. If a major company produces 10,000 tons of plastic packaging, the law mandates they collect and recycle a matching percentage. If they break that loop, they face heavy fines from the Pollution Control Board. This bypasses the struggling municipal system entirely. By shifting the massive financial liability of waste disposal directly onto corporate balance sheets, the government makes it incredibly expensive to ignore the garbage. But this creates a massive logistical headache. Global brands are incredibly efficient at manufacturing and distributing goods, but they have absolutely zero expertise in collecting trash from millions of neighborhoods. When you combine the millions of tons of waste generated annually with the threat of massive non-compliance fines, the cost of doing nothing becomes astronomical. This has created a multi-billion-dollar market vacuum for anyone capable of bridging the distance between the landfill and the factory. Enter the market correction. Indian entrepreneurs and technology startups are rushing in to solve this exact collection and sorting problem for the panicked brands. We are seeing advanced artificial intelligence and computer vision systems being deployed to rapidly sort and classify mixed municipal waste. On the ground, this is translating into the rapid construction of specialized large-scale recycling hubs and sophisticated waste-to-energy plants. Without realizing it, India is effectively building a massive, privatized mining operation where the primary resource being extracted is the country's own garbage. Reclaiming all of these lost materials does something else behind the scenes. It directly improves India's national resource security. Every ton of plastic, glass, or metal pulled from a landfill and recycled is raw material India no longer has to import. This keeps capital flowing domestically, establishing a circular economy that reduces the need for new materials and aligns with global sustainability standards. Because EPR requires auditable, high-volume collection, the new industry is forced to formalize the existing workforce. Companies must now integrate and elevate the informal sector, providing structured pay and safer conditions to ensure every ton of waste is legally accounted for. Just a few years ago, India's aggressive economic growth was quietly suffocating under the weight of its own refuse. By enforcing extended producer responsibility, the government found a way to weaponize capitalism, turning the country's most toxic liability into its most profitable new industry.